Welcome to NEBA Spotlight. Today I'm very happy to present to you Mike Verrett with Verrett Associates. Mike, tell us about your business.
Greg, I am beyond delighted to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And this group is always a blast. I try not to ever miss it. But what I find in this group is we all have to do one thing. We have to answer the question, what do you do? And that question is in our audience's mind, whether they're talking to us, if they're looking at our website, checking us out on LinkedIn, they hear us speak. All of the time, people are thinking that. And the challenge that we have as businesses is answering that question when we know everything that we do. 100% of our business is important to us. 5% of it matters to our audience. And finding that 5% is needle in a haystack kind of stuff. We're all prone to talk about what we know, the service, the product, the solution that we offer, but think about why. It's because that's our comfort zone. We know exactly what we're doing. We understand the details and the features. But I want you to think about this. If you're reading a book to a group of kids at the library and you start that book on page 5, you know what's on page 5. You already understand it. You've got a bunch of 6 and 7-year-olds in front of you who don't. They need to understand pages 1, 2, 3, and 4 unambiguously. And then they'll understand what's on page 5. Think about how we all network and how we all approach this. If we just go through the motions of talking about what we're doing, those kids listening to our story are going to get up and go do other stuff, or they're going to tune out, or they're going to start causing trouble. Because it's as simple as this. Our audience is either on or off. They're engaged and paying attention, or they're off and doing something else in their mind. And that happens more often than not. If we introduce ourselves, if I'm in public relations, I say, I'm Mike and I own a PR firm. Well, how many other PR firms do you think my audience knows of? All of you on this call could probably name a PR firm. More importantly, you all know what a PR firm does. A PR firm puts news out there for a business and puts it in the right way that it creates impact, right? Well, if you already know the answer, if I say I'm in PR, what else are you going to ask me? The conversation kind of stops. But that's the key, is creating that conversation. How you engage with an audience and connect with them is the start of that conversation. You get 3 seconds once you get someone's attention. If the next thing they see doesn't hold their attention, you're going to lose them again. So what I want to talk about very quickly is the idea of how you connect, direct, and relate to your audience, project the attitude necessary for your audience. Connection is as simple as this. Getting our attention, you have to be one of 3 things. We react if you are first, best, or different. Those are the 3 things that catch our attention. Everybody on this call right now, you've experienced that yourself, scrolling social media or the news or anything on your phone. Your thumb is moving until it stops on something. Why? Next time you do that, ask yourself why you stopped there. It's because it stood out as what you were looking for. It stood out as one of those 3 things. Oh, that's different. Wow, that's new. Wow, that's incredible. But that's what catches attention. That's what creates connection. Getting to that point is focusing on the motivation of your audience, not their need state. Let's use the example of a plumber. I use this all the time, so it's a simple one. Excuse me. If you need a plumber, you go online and look for a plumber. You need a plumber. The first 3 results say, you need a plumber, we're a plumber. Here's our number, get in touch. The 4th one says, if water's on the floor, tap this red button, we'll be at your house in 10 minutes. That's our promise. One of them is talking to why you need the plumber. You come home and water's on the floor. If it's a shingle or a light bulb, wait till Saturday. But water, time stands still. It's destructive, can't fix it ourselves, has to stop. Every single one of us who's had a plumbing issue has experienced that. Very different. That plumber understands that and stands out to you as different by connecting to you based on your motivation for need, not what you need. Then the next thing is relating to them, right? How you bring them through once you have their connection, remind them they're in the right spot. Water on the floor is a bad sign. You can't fix it yourself. We know how it feels. Then I want to solve it for them. Our 10-minute promise. You have water on the floor. We will be there in 10 minutes to fix it. If you can connect, relate to the challenge, and solve it, the first three things you do, they are going to keep paying attention because you're going in the order that they need to understand it. The next thing is explaining the process, how you solve their issue, right? You've given them the solution. If you jump right to services, that's equivalent to going to the mechanic with your car, pulling in and saying, the mechanic saying to you, hey, come on in the garage. I want to show you all the tools I have to fix your car. I'm not ready for that yet. What a mechanic does is says, we're going to put it up on the lift. I'll let you know what it'll take to fix it. We'll get you back on the road in no time. 3 steps beginning to end process. So I've connected, related, solved, and shown how I solve. Now I'm ready to talk about my services. And that happens in the context of the process. It's almost like what happens to the person, to my audience, throughout that process. If I could get them anchored to that, they're not as focused on the services themselves and nitpicking everything because they see how it fits into the big picture. The next thing I need to tell them is how they're better off. What can they do now that they couldn't before? And that's the benefit, right? That's the payoff from all of this. Well, the next thing they're going to want to know is, how do I know if it works? And that is validation, right? That's proof. Think about the anecdotal nature of a testimonial or the measurable results in a case study. That's proof that puts your audience at ease. And finally, what do you want me to do next? That call to action. Getting them to act is the next thing that you need to do. But the beauty of it is you've brought them all the way to that point on their terms. You've connected, related, solved, shown how you solve, what you use to solve, the benefits of this solution, and proof that it works. Now you're ready to close the deal. This architecture is predicated on how people would ask you questions. One-sided, it might sound something like this. So what do you do? Oh, interesting. What do you mean by that? Okay, well, how do you help those people? That's your solution. How does it work? And what do they get in that process? What do they experience? How are they better off? What's the benefit of working with you? Can you prove it works? You know what? Yeah, I will take your card. Let's have another call. I'm interested. That's it. That's how an audience thinks in a narrative. And if you can connect with them and direct them through that narrative and project the right attitude, if you're talking to someone about an empathetic situation, you're not getting all excited and really, pumped up with adrenaline. You're there to meet them on that tone. I know what you're going through. I know how you feel. That projection needs to meet the moment. So connect, get their attention for the first 3 seconds you have it. That gets them to stop, right? Relate to what they're going through and it feels familiar. Solve it in a sentence and they're ready to find out how. Those are the first 3 steps. Then your process, services, and benefits are much easier to explain. If you could get to this one way of communicating, it becomes your homepage. It becomes your LinkedIn profile, like your headline in your About Me section. It becomes the upfront of your new business presentation. But most importantly, it gets your audience to see something different from everybody else who does what you do. That's your competition. If you're a coach, you're up against all the other coaches. CPA, all the other CPAs. How do you stand out as different from them is what's important. So I want to see if anyone's interested in putting this to the test. Does anyone have any interest in telling me what they do? And I'll give them some quick feedback. Don't be shy. I promise I'll be nice. Anyone?
I will.
Go ahead.
I am a cost reduction consultant, and I help businesses and individuals reduce their expenses and put more money in their pocket.
Love it. So the general idea of a business is you sell to make money, top line, conserve to make profit, bottom line. You're talking about that bottom line.
Correct.
So you deal in bottom line results, driving bottom line results.
Correct.
And explaining to them what top line and bottom line is easily sets them up for the idea that you conserve, you put the money back in their pocket. That's all bottom line activity. If you start out with, I get businesses right to the bottom line, that's a quick impact statement that you could start with.
Thank you.
Great job, Mike.
That's
Mike,
how I think anyway,
how do
guys.
people get in touch with you if they're interested in your consulting?
I will put my Linktree connect link in the chat, and I think I'm the only Mike Verrett on LinkedIn, at least the only one that pops up with a caricature picture of me.
I love
So
it.
please find me on LinkedIn. I'd love to meet with all of you again or for the first time, because my true joy is the one-to-one connections. I really enjoy it.
Mike, we look forward to supporting you and your business. Thank you so much for the amazing presentation. You'd help so many businesses. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.